Today's myth is one that we've kind of touched on already, but I want to revisit, and that is high volumes of exercise and low calorie intake will help you lose weight. And the reason why I want to touch on it again is because I'm still seeing it and it's driving me mad. You know, I think it was in Female Fitness Myths Part 3, if you want to revisit it, where we said that we busted the myth that more is better. But, you know, women cannot exist on 1,200 calories or less a day. And I do understand there'll be outliers. You will have that one client that did it that one time in your 26-year career, and therefore everybody is on this plan. But at the end of the day, there is an easier and far more successful option for fat loss for women, which I wanted to go into a little bit more today. So the fitness industry needs to start promoting a healthier outlook for women's health. They need to start educating women on women's bodies, which means you need to be educated, right? You cannot teach a woman about her body if you know nothing. The fact is, when women participate in endurance training, so if they're coming to the gym morning and night, the law of diminishing returns applies. So the more they train, the more adverse their health outcomes are. Okay, we need to be smarter. They need an adequate nutrition intake because the consequence is the loss of her cycle. And that is a huge increased risk of premature osteoporosis, premature heart disease, and those adverse risks last forever. So if she loses her period at 25 as an athlete, when she's 40, she's still at a higher risk of osteoporosis or heart disease. Okay, so let's just no more. And if it means in the meantime you're not doing fat loss plans or whatever while you get educated, so be it. Go for it. That's great. So if you're training someone for fat loss, you need to integrate these considerations. Okay, number one, resistance training will reduce the amount of muscle and bone loss while she's calorie restricting. Okay, a combination of cardio and weight training is more effective for fat loss, muscle mass, and vascular fitness compared to cardio or resistance training alone. So mixing it up, super important. There's no huge advantage in choosing HIIT training over endurance. When I say endurance, that was the wrong word, sub-max training. And I'm talking like 30 minutes to 60 minutes. I'm not talking 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Okay. For fat loss, as long as the energy expenditure is about the same. So you just go higher intensities if they're time poor, if they've slept well and eaten well, and you go longer sub-max sessions if they're not sleeping well perhaps, or if they've got a bit more time. Now, I just need to disclaim, those studies are mostly done on men. I actually can't find studies done exclusively on women. So the best I could do, and they're referenced when I eventually put these in a blog, were ones done on both women and men. But as you've probably found out if you're researching women right now, a lot of the results from the women are excluded as outliers because their cycle will influence it, where they are in their cycle, their age, whether they're menopausal, blah, blah, blah. So that just confuses our poor scientists, and until recently we accepted that. So there's my little disclaimer. But the moral of the story is resistance training, include it. Okay, you don't need to do shed tons of endurance training to lose weight. You need to monitor their menstrual cycle to make sure they're getting adequate nutrition intake to cover the costs of what you're giving them. So a measured dose is better than flogging them with long endurance sessions. You should not be prescribing a low-calorie diet unless you are a nutritionist and you have the adequate certification to do that. Otherwise, they need to be their food needs to be supervised by someone who is adequately qualified, losing words. So the menstrual cycle, if you're tracking it of your client, will tell you whether you've got that balance right. And if you are qualified to recommend a low-calorie diet, then cycling it with her menstrual cycle has been shown to yield better fat loss results. And that is increasing the calories by about 300 a day in her luteal phase. So again, get qualified in training women so that you can confidently train her. These studies show that actually eating more in certain parts of her menstrual cycle helps her lose weight better. So that's huge. That's huge. We need to take that on board. We need to start sending that to our female clients in our messaging, and we need to get educated ourselves so we can educate our female clients and improve things, change things for them. So I'm going to finish my female fitness myths at the end of April. So if you have one you definitely want me to cover before then, or you feel like I've missed something, like I missed the fat loss for menopause for women before, just send me a message and I will answer it before I wrap up this topic.